Welcome to the biggest influences. This is the real Joe Rogan.
You're the first person to tell me about the scams of the whole mortuary industry, about how much money they get you for. Like, no matter, even if you want to get an embalming, you still, or even if you want to get someone cremated, you still have to get them embalmed. You still have to fill them up with formaldehyde. And you were explaining the caskets, how they like guilt you into getting a nicer casket.
Oh yeah, what do you want? You want to be buried in 4 pieces of wood, or you want the Cadillac of caskets?
How weird is that?
I got one with a sunroof. It's they got everything now.
But how weird is it that people give a fuck what the box looks like that they bury you in? So strange. The things that people do to show that they cared when someone was alive. Buy a fancy box to put them in. Like, if that's me, save your money.
Me too.
Yeah.
I remember I had that joke, just bury me in the yard. My friend,
that's how you're
his
supposed
uncle
to
died,
die.
And they wanted $15,000, and I'm like, you got a yard that's huge.
Yeah.
That was an old joke. I'm like, you got a hard $15,000.
Not only that, then the person gets cycled back into life. You become a part of the earth again. Because, like, what we're doing is very unnatural. We stop the body from decaying, so you stop bacteria from eating it. You stop the soil from being enriched by it. It's all a natural part of the cycle of life of all living things. And we've removed ourselves from it. We've removed ourselves from it, and you could say, well, it's a good thing because you ever watch that HBO show with Dr. Michael Baden, Autopsy? Sometimes they exhume people and they find out that the wife really did it. And you ever watch that show?
Fuck yeah.
That fucking show was amazing.
We've had numerous conversations. Yeah. In fact, they took Biden, that what was his name, Michael Bowden?
Michael Baden.
Biden. He was retired, and they took him back to get the autopsy for on Epstein. That dude.
And they found out that he had a fracture in his neck that was indicative of being strangled with a ligature, like some sort of a fucking cord. Yeah, and that this wasn't like when people hang themselves. When they hang themselves, the weight of it goes up because your body is hanging down. So it's like you're getting pulled. This was down on his neck, like low, like someone strangled him from behind. In his throat, the bones in his neck were fractured, which is also like a ligature strangulation.
Isn't that weird how that just went down?
It's still going down. Like
it disappeared. Like
Ghislaine, they put Ghislaine in jail, and they never released a client list. That is insane. The fact that that's okay with people, and everybody's freaking out about Bud Light. Okay, you care about Bud Light? Care about Bud Light. You should really care about that because it's showing that people that are in power can probably have people killed and probably hide evidence that they did something that people would find atrocious.
Like that, and we just never questioned it.
Yeah.
He died. We knew it was the fucking mystery man.
I think it's good there's more of that. The more of that shit that's out there, the more people realize how fucking ridiculous it is to think that these people that are in positions of power give a fuck about you.
They don't. That's why I don't fuck with politics.
Don't fuck with politics.
I don't.
It's not necessary.
I don't. Because at the end of the day, it don't matter. They don't give 2 fucks about you. I just went off at a restaurant Sunday. Some lady, I don't know why people do this. Some couple asked me if I was a fucking Republican.
A couple asked you that?
Yeah, I was at a restaurant. You had a bar and you're eating. And there's a couple next to you and you're talking. You're watching a game. And she goes, are you a Republican or a Democrat? And I looked at her, I go, I'm a felon. And she just shit. She goes, what are you talking about? I go, listen, I don't play that shit, okay, lady? I go, all you motherfuckers have gotten too political the last 10 years. Everybody's a political analyst. I go, I got here in 66, and I always paid attention to elections and what people said. I always did. And by the time I was 18, I realized, you know what? These people come along every 4 years with the same fucking story and nothing gets done. Yeah. So I chose a different path for my life instead of focusing on that. Call me when the president who says, listen, you don't have to go to work and you're going to get your balls licked all day, that's who I'm voting for. Until that fucking time, I could care less because I still got to get up and be a thief every fucking day. I still got to get up and hustle every fucking day. So what good is it? Every day they're going to lower taxes, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and I'm still getting up, busting my fucking hump every fucking day. Who gives a fuck?
I think a bad president is very bad, but I think a good president you just take for granted. And you don't think anything and just go about your life.
Obama was very good. There was a lot of great presidents that we had,
Yeah. But it makes the country safer if someone makes good decisions, if someone's a good figurehead. The problem when someone isn't, whether it was Trump or whoever it was, when people mock them and are angry at them. It's bad for morale. It's bad for everybody.
I saw all that shit. I saw it the last 2 or 3 presidents, how much as Americans we backbite. When I was a kid, we didn't backbite that much.
Didn't backbite like the president?
Like the president.
Attack the president?
Yeah, attack the president that much.
Well, there was a lot of people that hated Kennedy, right? Like, that was one of the things about when he got assassinated. There was a lot of people that were very happy.
That's one of the kinkiest things in our history.
Oh, my God.
Who was happy?
For sure, the Republicans. There was a lot of Republicans that did not like him. It was right after the Bay of Pigs. There was a lot going on with him, and he had all this talk about secret societies, the being abhorrent, and that he wanted to disband the CIA. That motherfucker wanted to get us out of Vietnam. Like, Kennedy was a different cat. He was a different cat, and for all of his sexual proclivities and all the documented things of him being a freak, they're all freaks. That's why those people became presidents in the first place.
Freaks.
That's why they wanted power. They were men who wanted power. And men who wanted power were all like your stereotypical man in power. Like, there's a reason why that stereotype exists. But when you look at what he was trying to do for the country and trying to unite people and the speeches that he gave, to this day, they're fucking incredible.
Civil rights,
everything.
He pissed off a lot of people.
Even talking about going to the moon, just the way he phrased it. We choose to go to the moon, not because it's easy, because it is hard. Like, he talked about that. Like he wanted it to be like a symbol of American excellence. He wanted to set a tone for the country. They shot his ass.
He dropped those people. He fucked, those Cubans feel like he fucked them.
Yes.
The Bay of Pigs Cubans feel
I don't understand that story totally. I've been told several different versions of it, that he was double-crossed, that they pulled out support.
They pulled out their support at the last minute.
Yeah. I don't know. I've heard he was an idiot, and I've heard he was a piece of shit, and I've heard, no, he got fucked. So it's like, I would have to go do a deep dive. It's very difficult when you're reading some versions of history, because you could read a lot of versions of history that treat the Lee Harvey Oswald lone assassin story as if it's plausible. You could read a lot of versions of that where you go, oh, yeah, I guess so. But then you'll read, David Lifton's book, Best Evidence, and you'll be like, there's no fucking way. They killed him. They killed him.
They killed him.
They fucking
Let's
killed him.
just get that out of the way. They killed him.
They didn't just kill him, Joey. For sure, someone in the CIA had something to do with it because of Jolly West's involvement. Jolly West was the guy that was the head of MK Ultra. He was the guy that dosed up Manson, and they ran the Haight-Ashbury free clinic. The CIA ran a free clinic in San Francisco for fucking decades. And then they ran Operation Midnight Climax, where they would dose up Johns with acid. These guys would go into brothels. They'd dose them. They'd think that they'd go to have sex, and the woman would give them a drink, and they're drinking acid, and they just get dosed up, and then they'd study these guys. They did some wild, freaky shit, and one of the things that he did when Jack Ruby shot Lee Harvey Oswald, he went to visit Jack Ruby in prison. And from that moment on, Jack Ruby lost his fucking mind. He was hiding underneath the bed, saying the Jews are being incinerated. They're coming to kill us all. He was tripping balls. I think they just dosed that guy into a fucking coma. And then after they dosed him into a coma, they gave him cancer. And he was dead within a year.
Wow.
And it's all connected.
It's all connected.
And the idea that no one was involved in that assassination other than Lee Harvey Oswald, that doesn't make any sense. Even if Lee Harvey Oswald was the only one who pulled the trigger, even if that. Lee Harvey Oswald was traveling back and forth to Russia. He lived in Russia. He's married to a Russian woman. Like, the fact that this is in the middle of the Cold War, they're not investigating this guy. They're not... Get the fuck out of here.
I think he was a patsy, bro. I think they set him up from A to Z.
Yep.
Somebody was giving him money, letting him know. It's interesting because listen, you don't want to base yourself on stupid things, but remember that speech that dude gave, Kevin Costner?
Which one?
In JFK.
Yes.
What was the guy's name? He's the guy.
Donald Sutherland.
Donald
Guy
Sutherland.
from Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
The guy, that motherfucker, got offered a deal for Animal House, he would have been like $11 million. He took the $10,000 one payment.
Really?
Yeah, I read that somewhere. I still love Donald Sutherland.
Donald Sutherland was a bad motherfucker.
But that speech he gave...
Kiefer Sutherland's dad.
Kiefer Sutherland's... How they already had information on. He goes, that guy got shot, and within 10 minutes, they already had a whole background on this guy.
Yeah.
You know? And then he showed him the newspapers. How could the paper come out in Brussels? But I don't remember the whole thing. But all that made a lot of fucking sense.
Yeah, newspapers were already reporting stories on him.
Yep.
On him, who he was, what his background was. Yeah, I think he was a patsy.
Subscribe to Biggest Influences today.